Good morning. This is Cynthia Green. I'm getting my best lighting. Thank you for watching. I live in the Pacific Northwest, originally from Bristol Bay, Alaska. Today, it's been a rough week, but today I want to speak on choosing from perception. We perceive a thing, and from those things that we think on, we end up with choices in life that if we do not study what they are, or if we did them in haste, we find ourselves in places that may not be desirable. So, choosing is something that we get to do every day. It may be simple, but to study from a place A to get to B, it's best if we do not hastily make decisions or come up with answers without study. My Bible verse today is the heart, Proverbs 15:28. The heart of the righteous studieth to answer, but the mouth of the wicked poureth out evil things. I like that. So when we do study, we learn to ask the right questions. We learn to define the position, the circumstance properly in the right perspective. That is from our perception. Learning to perceive a thing in life is to realize that it's a new day. We're not bringing old things, old study habits into this new day to make better choices in life. We get to choose what brings us life in ways that give promise in a good way to us and our family. How do we do that? A lot of times it is in doing, taking that first step that allows the process to come about in ways that we don't understand or find out the answer if we did not do the first step, which is the actual doing. I remember when I first started working at a place that I did not know how to find out if money was counterfeit or not. And after years and years of study and doing, I could actually see one and say right off the bat, oh, I can clearly see if it's good or bad, the bill, if it's counterfeit or not, just by doing. So, what I mean today is we do have choices in life, and if somebody tells you you're stuck, that is not true. That is a lie. And if they say you can't do any business, you can't do this or that, that is a lie. Because if you do something, when you decide and you study, then it is possible by taking many little steps to get there. Some of those steps may make you fall, and they may make you leap for joy. But it is a process, a journey, and I want to study how to answer a question that, if asked of me, is, what do you want? I would like to positively say, I want this and this and this. Because if we don't have a clear vision of where we want to get to, we will never ever take that first step. And if we don't expose ourselves to different things in life that are available that we may want, then we'll never get to choose. But if we, on purpose, daydream, look at good things, listen for a good report, look around and say, hey, I want that. That first opportunity is your dream, your vision, and it is possible if you dwell in that land and say, how can I get there? These are choices in life that if we study, we actually can take that first step and say, hey, I know I can do it. So let's encourage ourselves by learning the direction we want to head to and the language. I know when people immigrate somewhere, they have to learn the language. And it is communication. If you can't communicate anything, I like I don't know if it was Google or not, but they said something into their cell phone and it interpreted into the language the person is on the receiving end, and it allowed them to say, and they went, oh. So it is important to learn the terms and the language. I know I struggle with the terms sometimes in my speech, in my posture, in my attitude, in my surroundings, but it is a learning process, and I'm excited that I am doing something towards the direction of my dream, which is to do an online digital business. It is something that I have not seen anyone do except on YouTube, which I like to watch. And on there, they talk about things that interest them that would be a glowing good report. I was studying good report last year. What makes a good report? Why would I insist on hearing a good report from my family and friends? Well, when they're doing good, my life is good also. Encourage one another in your family, in your friends, in your work to hear a good report from each of them. Applaud their good success because those that you are around, when they are doing good, sooner or later you will also. So let's encourage, inspire one another in the direction that our choices and say, hey, if you want that, go for it. But first, study if it is a good thing. Learn to discern by being quiet if it's actually a detour or something that is delaying you from your progress. Maybe, especially when you're working out and you go every day, and then all of a sudden you quit and you indulge in other things. Is that a good report? Maybe it was an injury. Maybe it was in a direction of another avenue. Be that as it may, what language is the direction that we want to head to? Those things is what Proverbs 15:28 says. The heart of the righteous studieth to answer. So I like to talk about new days, new things, and how to perceive, learning to perceive that we do not repeat the actions or the thoughts or the language of yesterday if we're attempting to do something new. Sometimes it can become chaotic. Things go in the wrong direction that we thought it would have, and it wasn't what we thought it was. But the effort still is this: study to answer. But the mouth of the wicked poureth out evil things. This is my year for the word things. And so that is uh, something that kind of came out to me. The mouth of the wicked poureth out evil things. So, what is righteous and what is evil? One of the things that I like to talk about in goal setting and going for your dreams is study, to be quiet. And I've never ran across this word before, or if I have, it didn't stick with me, but today it did. The heart of the righteous studieth to answer, but the mouth of the wicked poureth out evil things. Things. When we speak, they actually pave the way, I think, to the outcome that we speak of. The words we use are important because they become the things in our life. When we speak love, we surround ourselves with lovely things. When we speak mercy, goodness, a good report, all these pure and holy things, it leaves the impression that we are on the right path. When I think of a goal, they say it has a timeline and it is a process to accomplish the dream that you have, the vision that you do have. The vision is a picture describing the outcome you desire. The words that you say to yourself are the goal steps. The words that describe that vision is, in a sense, the goal. So when you say things, in actual, you're setting about a goal. A lot of the times, I think that we miss the mark by asking the wrong question from a wish. Oh, I wish that. But in reality, it's not the truth. We think, oh, maybe it's a good thing or not. And we leave it at that. We're not intentional in our truth. We think, oh, it may or may not come true. Those wavery ideas, you're like the grass in the wind. It's double minded and we're not being serious. Maybe we're relaxing. And that is not the case of the Bible verse. Studying to answer. I like to say, what questions are you asking of yourself? We ask all day long because when we rise, we ask, oh, can I have a cup of coffee? Yes. Oh, what can I wear today? Yes. Something good, nice. What will I do today? We ask all day and we pray without ceasing. So, righteousness, we study to answer. That's part of being righteous. Hastily makes waste. In Proverbs 15:29, the Lord is far from the wicked, but he heareth the prayer of the righteous. The light of the eyes rejoiceth the heart, and a good report maketh the bones fat. I like that. A good report makes the bone fat, makes your bones dense, the marrow. It's when your marrow is healthy, your whole body will be healthy too. The ear that heareth the reproof of life abideth among the wise. I used to not desire reproof when I was growing up. I was a perfectionist, and, and I found out that life, when you live that, you didn't want the reproof, you learn to live with fear, holding the hands of fear in your life. You walk holding tightly to the hand of fear, and you keep it close by you. That is the side effect of not hearing a reproof, not framing it in a manner where when somebody criticizes you, that is reproof. When somebody presents a problem for you to answer and say, "What do you think?" and you shy away from that, that is holding tightly to the hand of fear. When the outcome is, sometimes it's good when they teach you, like the ice is thin, don't, instead of saying those things, the ice is thin, if you, they say other things, making sure that you don't walk on that ice to the level of your understanding. If you're talking to a child, you bring out different wordings, but if you mature, they come about differently. So when I think of reproof, that was something that I did not cherish. And it brought a lot of perfectionism in my life. And I failed many ideas that came from questions because I was holding on to fear. I was being perfect. I didn't want to look stupid. I didn't want to ask the stupid questions. But now I've learned to learn the terms, learn the words that bring about study to answer. What words will it take? Combining sentences in a manner where it brings forth fruit in your life. What are you going to eat today? Those ideas come from pausing to study. Yes, it may make some people uncomfortable when you're quiet and silent. That's why it's nice to set aside a time during the day when you can be quiet for 15 minutes even to study the direction, to analyze the things that you have set out to do. Are they combined or anchored to the value that you want in your life? Or are they just a facade? The look of success may entice people to go in debt, to do things that some say, well, that's not actually the way to go. and then you run from that and say, no, I like this. I deserve this. Well, it may be different to understand the position that we sometimes see something at the store and we go, I want this. I'm getting this now. To realize something that, hey, I would like to buy a $5 item. What if the $15 item was better than that $5 item? In the long run, that $15 item will bring value, stability into your life rather than the $5 one that may break right off the bat during the day. I'm bringing small little things. Some people say, well, I will pay for quality so that I can have and save in the long run. So it is the same when we go towards life. If we're holding on to fear, we're not wanting reproof or criticism, or we get easily offended if somebody says, you're doing it the wrong way. This is pause and go, oh, and listen. Learn to listen well. I've always said that. Learn to listen well. Learning to listen well means a lot of different things. It may seem redundant, but when you actually learn to listen well, which it actually means is reproof. It doesn't mean that you're bad. It does not mean that you're not any good in anything or ever will be. It just means that you're going for something and this is a shortcut, and to do it this way may save you. And so if we pause and study to answer whatever that is, it is a righteous thing to do. So today, learning to choose, learning to perceive, learning to study the right answer. Sometimes we need clarification. What actually is, we learn to ask the right questions. We're not afraid to seek out the right things. It's not, sometimes we want to hurry, and it says haste makes waste. But we may have gotten into the habit of delaying things to where we're running late all the time. That is part of not realizing, taking time to study and think. To perceive something as new, it takes time when we learn something new. We take longer. Sometimes when I come to a line and it's a new cashier, new person at the teller or at the grocery store, I'm like, oh, it's taking long. They're new. So when it's a new day and we take our time, that is a good thing. When we study to be quiet, study to answer, study the right questions, this is a good thing. It is a righteous way. And to do your own business, I like that. Study to do your own business. That's another study. But today I want to thank you for listening. I ramble just a tiny bit, but I'm learning the right terms. In sequence, I have yet to go A, B, C. I like to reiterate that it is important to study, to be quiet, to take time, learn the management skills of perception, learning to hear, learning to study, learning to listen. These skills are based off of decision. Decide today. That is the first step. And then learn that everything is not offensive. Take it in stride. Don't lose your momentum because you got offended. Learn the right phrases, the right framework. Learn the habit of mercy. In Proverbs, I was looking at by mercy and truth, iniquity is purged, and by the fear of the Lord, men depart from evil. That's in Proverbs. So we learn that as we go about our day meditating on, maybe it's a simple thing, but we learn by choice. We learn to perceive. We learn to study, and it's important. Thank you for listening. And today, I hope you have a good weekend. Have a good night.